Bocchi the Rock will go down as one of the greatest adaptations in anime history due to the immense creativity, talent, and hard work from each person at Cloverworks. The scriptwriter for Bocchi, Erika Yoshida, is particularly talented, as she was able to take a 4-panel or Yonkoma comic strip gag manga and adapt it into a typical serialized 22-minute anime episode format, with a great sense of pacing. The anime adaptation of Bocchi has been praised by both Japanese and Western fans alike for its amazing music, animation, voice acting, directing, and, thanks to Yoshida, a very human and heartfelt script with tons of comedy to boot. Sadly, some people have been critical of Bocchi's adaptation, and for a very strange reason. Ever since the anime released back in 2022, people have been pointing out the difference in Bocchi's bust size compared to the manga, and while many viewed this difference as not a big deal and made jokes about it all in good fun, some fans were genuinely angered by it. More recently, an interview with Erika Yoshida was posted to Kaiyo, a Japanese pop culture website, where she talks about her experience working on Bocchi the Rock, and in it revealed that she and the team purposely cut some scenes sexualizing Bocchi and the other girls from the manga, as she viewed those scenes as just noise. This justification pissed off some people online, and they began accusing Yoshida of censoring the original work and tarnishing it by forcing it to fit her views. Today, I want to have an open discussion as to why I don't see these changes as censorship, and instead the natural result of adapting a series like Bocchi into the popular zeitgeist that it is. In the interview, which is translated by Google and not a human, so take any poor wording with a grain of salt, Yoshida says, "First of all, the original work is fantastic, and the original creators are very cooperative. The director, staff, and music team are all working hard, and Kerophibia, the character designer / chief animation director, is drawing amazing pictures. Even at the production stage, I thought this was a work that could dominate, but if there are any issues like this, it will stop many people from watching." It's obvious that Yoshida has a lot of reverence for Bocchi's source material, as she even says that based purely on the manga and early production of the show, she believed it was a series that could dominate. In retrospect, her premonition of the insane popularity of the series was scarily accurate, and it's not even hard to see why she would think Bocchi would blow up the way it did. Bocchi often gets compared to K-On!, and for good reason. Both shows are incredibly similar in a number of ways, but also stand apart enough that Bocchi doesn't feel derivative of the other. Back when it aired, the K-On! Anime, adapted by Kyoto Animation, became incredibly popular, and Bocchi's success almost feels like deja vu comparatively. Just like Bocchi, K-On! Was originally a Yonkoma manga about a group of high school girls forming a band, and when adapted into an anime, took a lot of liberties when changing its format from 4-panel gags into multiple 22-minute episodes of anime with a discernible beginning, middle, and end. It was also able to hook people with its catchy songs, which, much like Bocchi, were attributed to the in-universe band, Hokago Tea Time. Both K-On! And Bocchi topped billboards in Japan with their respective music, which was not only a testament to their popularity, but fantastic advertising for people who hadn't watched their respective anime yet. The reason I brought up K-On! In this discussion of censorship as it pertains to Bocchi is simple. K-On!'s massive appeal happened not only because the show was good, but because it was accessible. Because of K-On!'s absence of fan service, it was able to appeal to way more people than just otaku, and became a household name in Japan, even being shown on Japan's version of Disney Channel. Its success can be largely attributed to its popularity with teenage girls, casual viewers, and even families. K-On!'s all-ages reputation is an important part of its identity in Japan, and I personally don't think it would be a fraction as popular as it is now if it featured more fan service. Well, that's not the issue, you may be saying. The issue is that Erika Yoshida changed the contents of Bocchi to fit her liking, versus K-On! Already not featuring any fan service in the original. Well, you'd be wrong there, because while rare, there are moments of fan service littered across the K-On! Manga that are considerably toned down by the staff at KyoAni. The most obvious example would be during the school festival, where Hokago Tea Time is about to perform, but Mio trips and reveals her panties to the crowd. In the manga, we get to see everything, but in the anime, they turned it into a gag where it cuts to a bowl of rice with a striped pattern on the bowl, alluding to the design of her underwear without directly showing it. Well, that's also censorship, you might be saying, and I don't agree with it either. It should have been kept the same. Alright, listen. I think just about anyone you ask would tell you that both K-On! And Bocchi are fantastic adaptations of their respective mangas. Even people who are critical of the so-called censorship would most likely agree with that statement. When you cry censorship over something as normal as toning down unnecessary fan service so that it can appeal to wider audiences, you're just watering down that word. I don't agree with censorship. I think that Puritan culture is ruining a lot of art in this day and age, like the whole itch.io debacle where they were forced to remove all of their NSFW games, or the censorship of the Tsukihime art book when translated for an English release, or Rouge from Sonic being stripped of her boobs, her outfit, and even her personality. All of those suck and are anti-art, something I am vehemently against. However, Bocchi wearing a swimsuit to take an ice bath in order to contract a cold versus being naked like in the manga is a completely understandable change for a TV audience. In the interview, Yoshida remarks, "If depictions like that were the selling point of Bocchi, that would be fine, but I don't think that's the case, and I thought that depictions like that would be distracting." What Yoshida means here is that when you're adapting something from one medium to another, especially manga to anime, you need to focus on what the charm of the story is. For Bocchi, it's a coming-of-age story about a high school girl with crippling anxiety finding friends and a sense of purpose by joining a band. Fan service scenes, while fun, can also sometimes put people off and overshadow the core message of a series. In Bocchi's case, changing her from being naked in the manga to wearing a swimsuit in the anime doesn't alter the purpose of the scene, which is simply her trying to catch a cold. What it does do is keep the focus on the story and preserve the show's more family-friendly tone. Plus, a brief nude gag in a manga panel can feel relatively harmless, but once animated, it risks coming across as much more suggestive and out of place. What people seemed to get up in arms about with the interview was Yoshida's use of the word noise to describe details she felt were unnecessary to include in the anime adaptation. While doing research for this video, I came across a tweet by a Japanese user discussing the situation, again, pardon the Google Translate, which reads, "In script writing and other writing jobs, noise is a frequently used word in meetings, but naturally the reader side has no way of understanding the nuances of terms used within the industry. So I think it creates a situation where they end up reading an extremely negative connotation into the word noise." I think they hit the nail on the head with this analysis. Personally, I don't know anything about how boardroom meetings go when discussing the marketability of anime, or what terms are used and what the nuances of those terms mean. But noise, being a general descriptor for anything that takes away from the main message, makes it harder to sell to advertisers, makes the emotional through line less clear, or makes people drop the show halfway through, makes complete sense to me. It's a shortcut word to quickly get across that it's simply unnecessary. Certainly, the idea of noise can be taken too far. It's not uncommon for things integral to a story to be put on the chopping block and labeled as unnecessary by big-wig execs who are trying to wring out as much money as possible. However, if you've actually watched Bocchi, you know that that simply isn't the case here. This is an anime with an incredible amount of love and dedication put into it, creative decisions left and right that both faithfully adapt the source material but also elevate it. Before the anime, the chart-topping phenomenon of Kessoku Band was just the name of a band in a 4-koma manga with no real music behind it. If the anime was adapted one-to-one, like many people are saying they want it to be, they wouldn't have bothered putting effort into making amazing songs like That Band or If I Could Be a Constellation. Plus, it would have been a fraction of how popular it is now if it alienated a huge chunk of its young female audience by including every manga-accurate scene that had heavy fan service elements. To wrap things up, since I don't want this video to drag on too long, I just want to add that it's not like Yoshida dislikes or harbors disdain towards the original mangaka, Aki Hamazi. Although Yoshida has slightly altered some scenes from the source material, doing so is the industry standard for adapting manga to anime. Hamazi is also extremely pleased with the anime adaptation of her work, and seemingly has no issue with the alleged censorship that many are upset about. In the end, the changes around the sexualization of Bocchi and her friends has nothing to do with politics or the current culture war or any kind of evil liberal censorship. Stuff like this is done so that Bocchi the Rock is able to reach as many people as possible to enjoy the story being told, since it's a story that's just not reliant on any sexual elements. If need be, I might come back to make a part 2 for this video. I probably could have said more, but I wanted to make this short and sweet since my editor and I are already juggling a bunch of other projects right now, so look forward to more videos on the channel very soon. Anyway, thanks a ton for watching. Bocchi the Rock is very important to me, so I really want to talk about this controversy and let you guys know my thoughts on it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're on mobile and it's been less than 7 days since this video was posted, you should be able to hype this video by swiping on the comment bar down below, which boosts me in the algorithm. I'd be super appreciative. Okay, that's all for now. See ya!